So as you now understood why is a wiring harness required, let's understand what are the main components of wiring harness and what makes a complete set of wiring harness ready to be used in an application. So let's understand each and every component in detail. So basically wiring harness is nothing but a bunch of wires connected in a sequential manner within a connector and then pass through a covering material called cord tube, insulation taping, and many other type of coverings, and it passes through the connector or a lug. So the main criteria or the main point is the colors of the wires, the type of connectors to be used, and the terminals and lugs. So let's break down each and every point in detail. Here I have shown a visual view of all the basic and main components of the wiring harness. So the first one obviously is a wire. So wires can be of multiple sizes from 0.25 square mm to 10 square mm, which is a power cable, and as well as AWG. So there are multiple wire sizes depending upon the American AWG gauge and the square mm gauge, which is usually used in Europe and India. So both of these sizes are very important for a design engineer to consider. Apart from wires, there are connectors. So connectors are the main meeting points to the peripherals, like suppose a PCB or a vehicle control unit or a peripheral such as steering or a wiper system. So connector is the main touching point of the wire to the application, and the connectors can be of multiple types. It can be one pole, two pole. So here in the picture there are two poles, plus and minus. So red and black usually is used for DC plus and minus. The connectors also come in multiple types like waterproof, non-waterproof, number of positions like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and many. So the connector material and the connector material temperature rating is to be subsequently selected to avoid any failures during the working process. After that, the connector and the wire is connected via a terminal, which acts as a main touching point between the two of the materials. So terminal is crimped onto the wires and then inserted into the connectors for their fitment. So there are multiple terminals available in the market, and it is dependent on the application as well as the designer to choose the particular connector and terminal for his best application. So terminals can be of various sizes from 0.25 square mm till 10 square mm, 20, 35, 50 square mm. It all depends on the wire size. So if a wire size is of 1 square mm, then the particular terminal of 1 square mm has to be used. Otherwise, the crimping on the wire will not happen properly, and there are chances that the wire gets damaged or the connection gets open during the application of the wiring harness. After terminals, there is a basic part called lugs. So lugs are in multiple types and shapes. Depending upon the application, the lugs are usually chosen. So ring type lug in vehicle is usually used for earthing purpose. It is connected on the chassis for the vehicle, and fork type terminals is also common and is used for applications like DC-DC converters, etc. The pin type and blade type terminals are usually used in control panel wiring for connection of MCB, RCD. So after lugs, there is another important part called covering material. The covering, main covering or the covering sheath for covering all the wires. So the wiring bunch cannot be used as it is because there are chances that the wire gets cut or damaged during the application. So suppose the wire is to be used in a vehicle and it is connected on the lower part of the vehicle, which is constantly with contact with the nature, like for dust and water and temperature variations. So a good covering material usually protects wire from getting damaged or oxidizing or getting hampered during operation. So covering material is of multiple types and we will discuss it subsequently. After that, the important part topic is of the ferrule labeling. So labeling is like giving the wires individually a name or a number for better understanding of the technician, the assembly person, or whoever is going to connect that wiring harness or remove that wiring harness in the future. So the ferrule has the information which is required for the connector. For let's example, let's say there are two wires, DC plus and minus. So DC plus ferrule will have the red the so as there are two wires, the red one is used for DC plus and black one is used for DC minus. So the ferrule will have the information called DC plus on written onto it and then connected. Similarly, the DC minus wire will be negative and the ferrule will be also DC minus, like this shape. So these are the basic and main important factors and components of a wiring harness, and let's understand deeply in the coming chapters.